Oh, Janet Wilson,
Okay.
and I am an ESL teacher for Tarrant County College. I have a bachelor's degree in biblical literature. I have a master's degree in linguistics from the University of Texas at Arlington, and I have a PhD in linguistics from the University of Texas at Arlington. They no longer offer the PhD. It was only offered for a few years, and I got in on it. I went to Pacific High School in San Leandro, California. My freshman year, I went to University of California, Berkeley. We were on the quarter system, and I went all 3 quarters of my freshman year and the first quarter of my sophomore year. Then I transferred to Northwest College, a Bible college in Kirkland, Washington, connected with the church. Berkeley was driving distance, between probably 20 miles, maybe. And I was a commuting student at Berkeley. So I drove to school, 1967 as a freshman. And then December 68, I transferred from Berkeley and started January 69 at Northwest College. I went to 2 different colleges. I figured from about the time I entered first grade that I was going to go to college. I never thought about deciding. I just figured I was going to college, and so I just knew that was what I was going to do. And actually, nobody else in my family had gone to college, and I was the first one. But I don't know why. I don't know. I just figured that was the thing that I should do, so I did. Well, it certainly felt like my decision, although when I was a very young child, I figured out I wanted to be a doctor. I was going to grow up to be a doctor. Well, you have to go to college to be a doctor, and that was my decision. I figured I was going to go to college and become a doctor. But then I found out I would be really, really old by the time I was going to be probably 26 or 27. By the time I got finished with all the doctor college that you had to go to, I said, I don't want to wait till I'm old to have a profession. I started at Berkeley. I only applied to 3 or 4 colleges while I was still in high school. And Berkeley was close by, very reputable college, high academically, and it was a state school, and I was a resident, and so I was really reasonable. $87 a quarter for tuition. $87 a quarter. I mean, anyway, it was just ridiculously cheap. And it was definitely challenging. And then
What did you study? What was your major?
just a little bit of everything. Well, I thought I was going to study chemistry. For 2 semesters, I studied chemistry. And in order to be a chemistry major, you had to take German. And as I took German, I had already taken Spanish in high school, and I thought, this is what I really like, is languages. So I said, I'm going to be a linguistics major. And then I felt like that I really felt like I had a call into the ministry, and about the first part of my sophomore year. And so I had to decide where. And I chose a faraway place, Seattle, Washington. It was like the other end of the world. And yeah, it was the other end of the world. But there had been a visiting minister to our church, and she was from the Seattle area. So I thought that would be that's the place for me to go. So I went to the other ends of the earth, to Seattle, Washington, and went to Northwest College. And when I became a linguistics major, I had to take Greek. And then when I got to the Bible college, I discovered I could continue my studies in Greek. So I had already had 1/4, and the college in Seattle was also on the quarter system. So I had 1/4 of Greek under my belt. So I continued with Greek. It was a little bit different, the time frame of the Greek historically, but same alphabet and, a lot of the same vocabulary and stuff. I was happier living at home. It was hard for me to be away from home. I was young. I started first grade while I was still 5. I didn't, my birthday's not till the end of November, so I was 17 when I started college. So when I went away to Seattle, I was 18 at that time, but and I was very close to my family, and I just found it very difficult. We have a big family, big extended family. No, my immediate family is not big, but I found it very difficult to be away from my family. It was hard, and I think that was really hard for me. But as far as classes and studying, there is nothing like better than learning stuff. I really like to study, and I really like to learn new things. Berkeley was as diverse as they come. That was during the civil rights movement. Everybody who was anybody went to Berkeley, So it was very diverse. When I went up to Seattle, I would say it was as white as they come, and religiously homogenous because it's a church school.
What religion was it?
Assembly of God.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Everybody. Well, there were a few people who weren't actually members of our church, but not too far.
What other religion?
Well, I met this guy that was a Lutheran.
Mm-hmm.
But other than, I didn't get to know everybody. Although it was a fairly small college, I probably knew everybody that was in my graduating class. It's probably closely akin to Methodist, but it's a Pentecostal church.
Okay.
So,
But
yeah.
no black people,
No.
Hispanic.
Well, part of that too, I think, is the Seattle area.
Mm-hmm.
And no Hispanic, no.
What about women versus men? Members.
Well, okay. It was, I would say, it was pretty much half and half, but women tended to drop out more along the way. So that by the time we got my junior year, the class just ahead of me, the graduating class, there were only 4 women that graduated and probably about 20 men. I mean, a small college. Maybe 25 men. But anyway, I thought, wow, we've got way more women in our class. By the time I graduated, 4 women. And maybe 20 to 25 men. They if a couple was going together and they decided to get married, she would drop out. There was no question about who would drop out. She dropped out.
After getting married, or after?
Yes, after getting married.
Or after starting having kids?
No, usually right after getting married. Just right after getting married. Yeah. There was no question about it. Well, I believe my favorite thing about the school was the Greek class. I loved it. I took 2 years of it. That's all they offered at Northwest College was 2 years of it. I think I would choose it again.
Which, both or one?
Both of them. I enjoyed both environments. Although, tell you what, I liked living at home and commuting better because I was real close to my family, and I don't think I realized how close I was to my family till I left home. Didn't I like about the school? Well, I guess that it was far away. It was far away from my family.
Why did you go from Berkeley to Seattle?
Well, I chose Bible college, and that's the one I decided to go to. And I think I did not realize how hard it was going to be on me as far as homesickness and stuff. But it was, yeah, it was a big change, a big change. I'm trying to think, was there anything else that I didn't like? Well, I think after I'd been there a while, I realized that I was not quite as narrow-minded. I was trying to think of a nicer word, but as the rest of them, but almost. Almost. Is there anything you learned about the school only after you started classes that you wish you would have known before? All right. Food. I didn't realize I gained 20 pounds in 2 quarters, and then I continued to gain weight. Man, I did not realize how fattening dormitory food is. Good grief. And meals is one of the most sociable times, to get a chance to see everybody. Did you feel challenged in your coursework? I did not know what it was like to be challenged in schoolwork. School had always been a breeze for me. I breezed through. When I was at Berkeley, I was challenged, and it was very uncomfortable for me. I was challenged, and that was a new experience for me. And
How were you challenged?
the work was hard. The work was really hard. And I got A's and everything in junior high and high school. And for the first time in my life, I was getting B's and C's. And I didn't know how to adapt to that. I think it was the competition, actually. There was no competition in high school. And there were people who were better than me at Berkeley, and I just had never been in an environment like that before. I had always been the top student with the top grades, and everybody just knew that, and I just skated through, and I didn't even know I was skating through. When I got to Northwest College, it was kind of back to the same old. There was no competition. So, I just got the best grades. I graduated in 4 years. I didn't know there was any other way to do it. I just went through and graduated in 4 years. How approachable were the professors? Well, at Berkeley, of course, it was big and a little more impersonal, but once I got to Northwest College, it was more like family. They were real accessible and willing to talk and their office hours were easy. I don't even know if I ever went to anybody's office hours at Berkeley. We had some graduate teaching assistants, and they had, discussion sessions and stuff that we were scheduled for. So I went to those, but I did not go to a teacher's office hours, but I did quite a bit.
Were most of your professors male? White male?
Yes, they were. PE teachers were not. But I doubt I had even one. Just trying to think. I had a German instructor who was a woman at Berkeley. And I really liked her. She could barely speak a word of English. And that was really a challenge, and I liked it, and I liked her. But other than that, I don't think I had another. Just trying to think at Berkeley, no chemistry, physics, math, philosophy, Greek. My first quarter of German, there was a man professor. The second quarter, I had a woman. No, I can't remember any. And at Northwest College, I can't remember, but I went to graduate school much later. I went to graduate school, and I would say at least half of I started in 1989 or 90. I started graduate school, and I had a lot of women professors by that time. But yeah,
What about minorities?
professors.
Mhm.
Oh no,
Never.
no, not even students.
Right.
But
I understand.
not even students, so much less professors. And at Berkeley, yeah, white males, all my professors, physics, chemistry, math, logic, Greek, German. Yeah, no, not even one. I have to tell you this, okay. I went all the way to the college president with a complaint because I found out that the men student workers got higher pay than the women student workers. I went to the college president and I said, "Is this fair?" And he assured me it was fair because they had more responsibilities than the women.
And you walked away content with the
Aha!
answer?
Ha! No way. But I mean, how many?
Ask for
Yeah, I asked for an appointment with the president and I got it. So, I mean, that's pretty
good
approachable.
answers.
Yeah, I did. What was dorm life like? It was really quite friendly. I enjoyed being in the dorm and I liked the other people in the dorm, but I was definitely an outsider, and I felt it. Like I said, I realized after a little while that I was a little more open-minded. Most of the other students there were from rural America, and I had lived in a metropolitan area my whole life. Not just my first year of college. I lived in a metropolitan area my whole life, and most of these people had lived on farms or in very small towns, and I think that was as much the difference as anything else. And I felt like an outsider, but it was real friendly and relaxed.
Give me an example of like your open-mindedness as far as
I wore my dresses shorter than the other girls did. Well, I mean that was a big thing because the dean of women called it to my attention. So,
after it was called to your attention about the skirt's length. Did you fix it? Did you keep going?
I can't remember. I
Were you a
probably did.
rebel?
Yeah. Well, see, and I think I was labeled a rebel. But I think I tried to conform as best I could. I did go to the president with this question about how come the men student workers get such and such an hour and the women student workers get such and such an hour.
Were you a student worker?
Yes. So that's why that was when it became important to me.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. But how many women would have actually gone to the president and made an appointment and gone?
I don't know.
Asked for answers.
Yes. What did I do on the weekends? I went home with my roommate a few times, and
To their homes?
yeah, because I didn't live around there. And I went to one of the local churches, and the people from the church came and picked me up. And
How often did you commute home then?
very seldom. I think so I went in January, so there were no holidays in that quarter. I think it was, did I go home at, I don't remember if there was a spring break and what I did. But I didn't go home nearly as often as I wished I could. Students could fly standby for less than half price at that time. So I flew home more often than people would these days. Oh, you could get a student standby ticket for $20 or $25. It was just ridiculously cheap, even for that, even for those days. A lot of students did stay on campus on the weekends, so that, they came, as far as they were concerned, they lived far away from the college. I thought they lived pretty close, but the other side of the state and stuff. So a lot of students did stay. What was your favorite place on campus and why? Probably the cafeteria. And it wasn't just the food, it was because everybody was there, everybody's, even people that I didn't go to classes with. And but I did like to eat. One cafeteria for the whole school. And how was the food? I liked it. I ate a lot of it, but I wished I hadn't. So what other dining options were available on or around campus? All right, there was the SUB, Student Union Building, and I used to go there for a few things, but not very much. And I didn't have a car, so any place I went in town, I had to walk to, and I didn't very often, and I didn't have a whole lot of money to spend on that kind of stuff. So I usually just ate on campus, and that was about it. Were the hours of campus facilities convenient for students? Library, dining hall, fitness center, no fitness center. We didn't have a fitness center. There was a gym, but that was just like for PE.
Going back to your dress concern, were women allowed to wear pants?
No. My first
Or
year.
shorts?
Shorts. That's sacrilegious. Okay, the first year, not at all. The second year, they started letting us wear pants on Saturdays. Maybe weekends, but that was it. And then after that, I don't know what happened after I left. But yeah, pants. Even when I was in high school, girls didn't wear pants to school. I mean, you probably can't even imagine such a remote time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we didn't wear pants to school in high school. Just always dresses in high school. So I mean, that was not a big deal to not get to wear.
Was that part of the dress code, or because of your
No.
culture?
High school. I lived in a big city. Mm-hmm. No, girls didn't wear pants to school. I mean, you just didn't.
But it was not one of the rules.
Yes, it was.
Oh,
it was part of the dress code. Yes.
Oh, dress code.
Yeah. And length of dresses also were part of the dress code in a high school, in the big city. So it was not like it was anything real unusual.
So dress code for high school. How about dress code for college?
At Berkeley, no dress code. Never, none. I mean, it was, yeah. But at Northwest College, it's the same dress
So
code.
you got to see like two extremes, right?
Yes.
Going from Berkeley.
Yes. Two extremes. Yes. How was the surrounding community? As far as I was concerned, the surrounding community was too far away for me to know because I was on foot.
You were involved.
I was on foot. Everything I did was right on campus. So I don't know much about the surrounding community. Public transportation near campus, I don't know. I'd never taken the bus all my life growing up. And we lived in the city, but I never took a bus. California is a car place, and I didn't take the bus. I never took the bus in the campus either. Were there any school traditions? Yes. If a guy got engaged while he was a student, all of the men students carried him up to the fountain and threw him in. Northwest College probably had a student body of 200 when I was there. So you might not know all the students by name, but
That's pretty small.
yeah. So when a guy got engaged, they threw him in the pond. trying to remember if there was anything else that stands out in my mind as a tradition. I don't know. Did students have a voice in the university, in the college? We probably did, but let me see. I believe that our senior year, I was class secretary or something. I don't remember. But I'm not sure that we did very much. I really couldn't tell you. Sometimes I was just oblivious to stuff. How would you describe your fellow students? They were very rural and conservative at Northwest College. At Berkeley, it was just the opposite. Extremely extreme. They were.
Give me an example.
This was before Brawless days. But there was this street preacher who would come and preach at the corner where speakers of all kinds. Herbert, I think his name was Herbert. And this one young lady was just so upset with him that he would dare to come there and preach the Bible. And so she went up to him, she raised her blouse and flashed her bra. I was sure glad that it wasn't braless yet, but she just was going to show him that people at Berkeley didn't believe in that kind of stuff. So she flashed good old Herbert. Maybe it was Hubert. I can't remember. But and then there were pimps recruiting on campus and around campus, and people would walk their dogs and they would poop on the sidewalk. Nobody picked it up. You had to be careful where you stepped.
What about drugs?
I steered clear of that, but I did. One day I was walking, I commuted while I was at Berkeley, and I was walking back to my car, and this guy across the street kept calling to me, and finally he came across and started talking to me, and I said, do I know you? He says, well, aren't you so-and-so? You were at the party last night? And I said, that wasn't me. So then he proceeded to try to pick me up. So I figured at the party last night, he must have been so stoned or drunk that he couldn't remember exactly who he saw at the party last night. So.
And drinking and drugs were exclusively mostly men, or?
No, men and women. That was, it was pretty, I'm sure that there were a lot of people, but I didn't get involved in it, but, just, I saw things going on around me. I didn't see drug deals happening, and I couldn't say for sure somebody was stoned or somebody was not stoned.
What about at the other university?
Oh, no.
No drugs, no alcohol.
Okay, yeah, but there were some students who got busted, some men, at Northwest College, only the men. A couple of male students got kicked out for drinking like a week before graduation. A week before graduation. Yeah. I mean, that was an offense. You were out like that.
Zero tolerance.
Yes, zero tolerance. So it was sad, and they were not people. I mean, I knew guys that seemed rebellious, and these guys were fairly tame. I was surprised. I was really surprised. It just shows you don't always know people. What extracurricular activities was I involved in? I wasn't. I studied. I thought I was at school to learn. I didn't even go to the basketball games. We didn't have a football team, but we had quite a good basketball team. Everybody else went to basketball games, and I just thought, well, I don't like basketball. It never occurred to me to go to basketball games for the same reason I went to the cafeteria, to hang out with the other students. And finally about the last month of school, I said, everybody's at the basketball game. If I wanted to make friends, that's where I would be. This is Northwest
Oh,
College.
really?
Oh, Berkeley, I didn't get involved in any extracurricular activities in there. Did you feel safe on campus? Oh, yeah. I felt safe. Even at
both?
Berkeley. Yeah, even at Berkeley, I felt safe, but I was too stupid to be scared at Berkeley. I should have been scared, but I wasn't. I wasn't. I just went blithely on my way. But, yeah, I felt safe. The thing is, I think at Berkeley, students are competing to get in. So I don't think they have any trouble with that. At Northwest College, well, they have, they recruit, they target recruit. They do things that have always worked for them. They have singing groups, young people, trios and quartets and larger ensembles, things that travel to the churches in the area and recruit. And I mean, they recruit very selectively. So they're not, and they advertise in our church's monthly magazines, and it's very targeted recruitment. So I doubt they're going to change their recruitment strategies, especially not on my advice. After all, I'm a rebel. Did you use financial aid? Yes, I did. And after I got out, I paid it back for several years at the rate of $43 a quarter. $43 a quarter. Can you imagine?
Wow.
Yeah, that's how much I owed after I got out of college. Were there any surprise costs you did not know about before committing to the college? No, I don't think so. Well, I think there was a graduation fee or something, but
Why did you have to work? Like your parents didn't pay?
my parents paid. If I wanted any spending money, I was draining my parents dry. So if I wanted any spending money, and
But it wasn't for tuition, books, or
No,
rooming.
no, none of that stuff. Do you have any advice for the new generation of students attending college today? Well, studying is not everything. There is more to life than study. If I had it to do over again, I would go to the basketball games. For the same reason I went to the cafeteria. I don't care for basketball especially. But that's where you make friends. And I just didn't know that. I just thought I was supposed to go study, get through in 4 years and graduate. But, there's a lot more to life than just that. And I wish I had realized it at the time.
Thank you very much, Janet.
All right.
It was fun. I learned a
Oh.
lot from you.
And it was fun for me too.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.